Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. We move in circles, balanced all the while, on a gleaming razor's edge, a perfect sphere colliding with our fate. The story ends where it began. Guess the name of the song in the comments. Greetings, 𝘵𝘢𝘵. Welcome to another video in which we discover the long path to Iliaster. Are you ready? Please subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, you know the drill. Leave something in the comments about the video, your thoughts. I read them all and I reply them all. Thank you so much. Let's go to the video. In today's video, we are exploring one of the most intriguing verses of the Bible, at least for me. I've approached Ecclesiastes recently, and I believe this will be a recurring subject here in the channel. I gave a background in my latest video about Solomon, the author of Ecclesiastes. Summarizing, Solomon was a man who had access to everything a man could only dream of having. We're talking about myriads of golds, 1,000 wives, everything a person could wish for. He also had access to an amount of wisdom given directly by God, according to the Bible. He's considered the wisest man that ever lived. In the peak of his wisdom and maturity, he wrote this book called Ecclesiastes, which is for me the most fascinating book in the Old Testament. There are some interesting parts in this book that correlates directly the relation between what is earthly and what is eternal, like this verse, Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. We are breaking down this verse today and setting our train of thought in what could this mean for us humans. Ecclesiastes 3:11, a glimpse on the very fabric of eternity. Have you ever thought about what is eternity? Something almost kind of impossible for a mortal being conceive, because it defies our notion of time and lastingness. Everything we know, everything there is already faded to demise and absolute annihilation. It's complicated for a mind who are trapped in space, time, and matter think beyond those dimensions to something that's eternal. What is the relation of God putting eternity into man's heart? What does that mean? First and foremost, we need to go back to the original term. The Bible, the Old Testament, was written in ancient Hebrew, whereas the New Testament was written in ancient Greek, with the exception of the book of Matthew, who was written in Aramaic. Those ancient languages, you might be surprised, are far more complex than our languages today. Our modern languages devolved. I'm no expert, of course, in ancient Bible languages, but in those languages, you can find a richness of one's ability to express themselves. To give you an example, the word love in the original Greek is written in 4 different forms. Words in which kind of weaken the very sense in its translation to our modern languages. If one knows these ancient languages, the comprehension of the Bible gets richer. Without further ado, let's get to the word eternity. The word eternity in the original Hebrew text of Ecclesiastes 3:11 is olam. I believe that's how it's pronounced. This term can be translated to mean eternity, forever, or an indefinite or unending period of time. It reflects the concept of something that is beyond the temporal, often used in the Hebrew Bible to denote the eternal nature of God and His creation. The book of Ecclesiastes is a tribute to King Solomon, who is traditionally known for his wisdom. Written likely towards the end of his life, Ecclesiastes reflects Solomon's reflections on life meaning and purpose. He explores themes of vanity, the passage of time, and the limits of human understanding. Let's now break down the verse part by part. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Solomon, as a wise king who experienced the highs and lows of life, acknowledges the order and timing of the events in the world. He sees beauty in the seasons of life, each event having its rightful place and time under God's sovereign control. For the next part, also he has put eternity into man's heart. Solomon recognizes a profound truth about human nature. Humans have an innate sense of something beyond the temporal world. This longing for eternity suggests that people are not fully satisfied with the material and the transient. They seek something everlasting and divine. This aligns with Solomon's own quest for deeper meaning beyond earthly experiences. Remember, we're talking about a man who had access to everything a person could only wish in their wildest dreams. And in the end, he states, it's all vanity, it's all chasing the wind, to the end of the verse. Yet, so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to an end. Despite this innate sense for eternity, Solomon acknowledges the limitations of human understanding. God's complete plan and the full scope of his work are beyond human comprehension. Solomon reflects on the misery of God's ways, recognizing that while humans have a sense of eternity, they cannot fully grasp God's eternal plan. Solomon's reflections on the vanity of humans' endeavors. Throughout Ecclesiastes, Solomon often refers to the vanity or meaninglessness of human endeavors when pursued their own sake. This reflects his understanding that without recognizing God's overarching plan, human efforts can seem futile. Solomon, celebrated for his wisdom, paradoxically highlights human limitations. He stresses that even the wisest individuals cannot fully understand God's ways, which teaches humility and dependence on divine wisdom. Solomon's acknowledgement of eternity in the human heart signifies that people are inherently driven to seek purpose and meaning. This pursuit leads to the recognition that true fulfillment is found in understanding and aligning God's eternal purposes. From Solomon's point of view, Ecclesiastes 3:11 is a profound acknowledgement of the beauty and order in God's timing, the innate human longing for eternity, and the humbling realization of human limitations in comprehending God's full plan. This verse encapsulates Solomon's journey of seeking wisdom and understanding, ultimately pointing towards the divine mystery and the eternal nature of God's work. Let me give you an example of what I like to call instant eternity. Imagine yourself on a Friday night. You walk into a bar, your friends are there, you ask for the coldest beer you could get, you open up that beer, you drink the first shot. It's delicious, it's cold and refreshes you and makes you happy. And the band's playing rock and roll, your favorite music. You are there laughing with your friends and having the moment of your life. And then an extremely hot, beautiful girl starts staring at you and invites you to dance with her. And you start dancing with her, listening to your favorite music. Your friends are cheering up for you. And then you kiss that beautiful girl. And you are having the time of your life. And you wish from the bottom of your heart that that moment never goes away, never ends. You wish that thing lasts forever, because in that moment you are tasting the very fabric of eternity, but in an infinite tiny piece of it. On the other hand, it's Sunday night. You are lying in your bed and you are feeling the Sunday night blues, that agony, because you know the next day you want to wake up early to go to that 9-to-5 job you hate. You are alone. Life doesn't make sense. You can't escape the rat race. You start wondering why you are doing the things you do, because you know, what's the point? What's the meaning behind all of this? And you only wish you could be there hugging someone you love dearly to be there with you so you are not alone. The same person that was partying hard on Friday 2 days ago. So, can you relate to that? You see that there are two instances of instant eternity. One that you'd wish to last forever, and the other one which is reality imposing itself. What's the message behind all this crazy talk of mine here? The message behind it is, even though we can't fathom eternity, although we try, ask yourself if the things you are holding yourself onto are eternal, in fact, or if you are holding yourself too hard on things that won't last. So the message of this video is, ask yourself about the lastingness of what you're holding yourself onto. If you are sure that you are holding yourself onto something eternal, maybe, just maybe, you are on the right path towards 𝘰𝘰𝘪𝑚. Thank you so much. I hope this video makes sense. Leave it in the comments and I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you in the next video.